Hello and welcome into Collection Time Only, brought to you by Sorare Data. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined today by NepentheZ and Gator Guy 231. Today to talk about something that Keith came up with yesterday, and I was like, "What does that mean?" And he was like, "I don't know, but let's just go with it." And yeah, we're going with it.
I still know what it means.
I think I know what it means. Well, I don't actually say that, but I have something that can apply to what we claimed we were going to talk about today. Firstly, thank you to everybody for coming in. 93 Acres, the GOAT of all podcasts. Thank you very much for those kind words. Tuggy, early time only. That's fair. Sorare FC Soul. So you guys plus Bob have taught me how to play Cap 240 better, explain why Cap 220 is not the same. Now I just need to know how to use an FC Soul collection to win in Capped or anything, please. So part of Keith's idea for the show, he was like, you've been talking about cap modes all week. You might as well just like keep talking about cap modes. And I was like, no, but okay, yeah, let's do it. Nah, sure, why not? But anyway, thank you to everybody. Nep says we were late, as I see the timestamp is 1 minute before. In fairness, Keith was late. But anyway,
8:59, sir. 8:59.
8:59 for us. So I was thinking of this topic while I was trying to make my lineups for this weekend last night. And I think I sent, I don't remember if I sent a screenshot of this lineup, but I was trying to make a Cap 240 team out of 4 of my 5 players from my Ren collection because I don't have a goalie from that one. And I was trying to decide if I was doing this only to like maybe have a chance of getting some money out of these stupid cards that I bought, or if they were actually the right plays. And after like looking at it, I was like, okay, these are the wrong plays, but I need to make some money off these damn cards. And it's certainly Cap 240 is really the easiest path to know that we're making money from these cards. Like you can win cards, of course, and you can sell them, or you could do what I do and not sell them because you don't like the price that they're selling for, and then they go 50% less, and then they're too low to sell, so you just have these cards. But Cap 240 is where that's where we get what we want. We want cash or ETH, whatever. And I'm wondering if I should only play collections in Cap because I know that there's something about building a collection where I'm like, I need to start making money from this, as opposed to the other cards I buy that don't win rewards. And I'm like, oh, it's fine. Those are just card winning lineups, which they're not. But like, is Cap 240 really where we should be like prioritizing our collections?
Yeah, we should. In fact, since you guys spoke about prioritizing cap modes first in the first place, like the 240s, I've tried that now the last 2 game weeks, and I'm just likely to hit threshold in like 3 this week. I hit in 2 last week, and it's like, yeah, I'm actually getting some pieces, and a lot of that comes from my collections. Like my 240 last week, I had like 3 of the LDU Keto guys in there with like 14%, 16%, and 11% bonuses. And I think I actually got like 350 points in the end, but it was like, if one of these players tanked, it was all right because they got covered by all of the huge percentages. You almost get like a 6th player, almost.
That's a crazy way to think of it.
Yeah, but it is. It's like half of an extra player, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not actually that crazy because I think we've talked about it. I don't know if it was like LTO or here, but like if you're running into cap mode with like some 12 percenters and you get captain, like you're just taking that threshold down.
Yeah.
Right. It's not 280 anymore. Like it's way too early. I have way too much coffee left to do any math. But like that, but it's lower. Like somebody in chat go, it's probably like 262 or something. But just like if you just bake in the fact that your guys immediately are not starting on 35, they're starting on 39 or 42 or whatever it is without even that cap, like not cap mode, the captain choice. Like it's easier that way. It really is.
But I'm looking at it differently and wondering if if I'm incorrectly ending up with the correct answer. But like, I'm only doing it. I don't even care about that. Not that
you're incorrectly incorrect.
No, I think I'm incorrectly correct. Like, I think I'm ending up at the spot of like, yes, I should play my collections in cat modes. But the reason I'm doing it is not because of the bonuses. It's because I'm like, that's where I can make the money back. And
yeah, that's terrible. That's a terrible reason.
I don't. I think that as long as you're actually hitting the thresholds, I think that's a good reason, because you have, like, especially in limited, you might only spend like $200 on the entire collection, maybe even less than that. And if you hit 3 or 4 thresholds with the guys that aren't your priority pieces and you pay off 10, 15, 20% of that collection, that's fine.
All right, hold on. I got to bring up this point, because this is essentially what I'm hearing from you crazy people. All right. I've actually always had a little bit of a problem with the SO5 rewards page on a player, because that one player is not the reason you won the award. Very often, that one player is the reason that your reward was not nearly as good. Like, we all have some crap players, and we're like, oh, look at that. They were in my all-star super rare lineup that got 8th place, not remembering that the dude got like 32. He freaking killed your opportunity at podium. But now it's on that page like, look at, I got like 2 ETH off this guy. And it's like, no. You actually lost a lot more because he sucks. And now Laird's over here going, hey, if I put him in my cash and Beauregard pulls up 100, but I put in this dude that gets subbed in, he got 27, but now I'm feeling better because he made me a little bit of money. That's what I'm hearing, Laird.
So I think it's different. No. Honestly, I was thinking about this as I could not sleep last night. So there are basically two ways that people try to account for ROI on cards from rewards. It's either you total or you sum the lineup total, and then like whatever the point total that this one player had is like a percentage of the total. And they're like, all right, he contributed 18% to this lineup. And the other is just to divide by 5 and pretend that all of the cards are equal. And I was like, I actually have recently started to think, at least when it comes to cat mode, that you should just divide by 5, because it doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't matter how many points each player scored, but if you have a L15 38 guy who scored 32, obviously he underperformed that. He was probably the lowest score in your lineup, but you could not have made that lineup without him. It was impossible to enter those 5 without him. So tell me why that's not the way to do it.
Are you going to, when that guy, that 32, caused you to not get threshold by 5 points, are you going to go ahead and deduct money from him as well because he bleeped you over? Are you going to do that?
I don't think his lack of 5 is any different than Borajo scoring 90 instead of 95. I don't think there's no difference to me. If
there
you come up short, they all came up short.
No, there is, because it's really hard to get Borgoat 90. There's not a ton. There's a good amount, but there's not a ton of 90s out there that are sitting on a 58 or 60. But there is a ton of guys 38 or under that can outperform 32.
Not from the collection, maybe, though.
Like I actually don't see what the difference is.
For me, it comes down to like, why have you built a collection? And when I started building into the collections, it was to try and get a 100% ROI on the collection. And so I'm all about that $5 or that $50, like using these cards for proof of concept that if you're new to the system, new to the game, or you want something a little bit like easier to play, like it, because it is easier to play with collections in SO5 rather than having a mass of players, especially collections that play for the same team still, unlike your Ren collection and like my Barcelona collection. But I'm like, yeah, if you can prove that you get 100% return on investment, then you can apply that up a tier across a different division. Like, so for me, even just scraping those $5, those, in the Premier League thing, the $8. Well, I won 2 of them this week, the $11 ones, and I had collections. That Arsenal collection that I bought off auction house the other week that you laughed at me about, Laird. Yeah, that's earned me like £25 back. It's incredible. It's paid off a good 12% of the whole collection.
From thresholds or from card wins also?
From the Premier League threshold thing.
Oh.
Yeah, the cash thing, yeah.
Oh.
Now that's more okay.
Money. There we go.
Wait, hold on. Let's not let Nep's success then all of a sudden make Laird think that what he's doing is okay.
Hold on.
Because Nep... No. Go ahead. Defend yourself. I'm
going to let Ben do it. He said you have to account for the fact that the bad player lets you play the good player who scored more, and that the bad player's value is allowing you to fit more points in elsewhere for the high upside guy.
But so when you don't hit threshold because the bad player was awful and you only played him because of your collection, the only reason you have him is because of your collection, and is it his fault or is it Borgo's fault that he didn't get 100? He only got 95.
I think you just said 90s don't happen that often. So why are we throwing 90s at one guy?
Because Borgo's over here.
He could have.
Because Borgo's over here taking all of your bums on his back and lifting them, and putting up huge games, and you're sitting over here going, "Oh, my 38 guy only got 32. That's because he sucks. It's okay."
So if I'm defending him, who am I blaming?
Well, I thought Terrier was really good.
He's recently back from
really
injury.
good. Yeah,
he's come back from injury. Oh, okay.
He has been the absolute perfect cat mode guy.
Yeah, no, he's been great. But again, we're using the example. Go ahead.
Sorry, speaking of cat mode, and Keith and I talked about this the other day. This is what players who come back from injury look like. So when everyone's like, "Hey, let's jam in," sorry, Tuggy, let's jam in Yari Verscharon in his first game back. All right, you're going to get 9.
Yeah.
And then 24. And then this is what outfield players look like when they come back from injury.
Especially after a prolonged injury like that. Maybe not after 1 or 2 months, they could just slot straight back in and get back to the way they were. But yeah, after a year out, it's tough.
But anyway, that's why his L15 is so low now.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that Ren team, didn't they almost win the league actually that year?
Probably. You think I would?
And now they're not all there for that reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when you lose Kamavinga and Doku probably didn't even play that much back then.
Also, Laird, I want to throw out on that 240 lineup. I love you shoehorning the goalkeeper you won into there that you should have sold, just to try to redefend yourself for not selling it.
He couldn't play that lineup if he sold him, though, right?
Yeah, no.
He couldn't play that lineup if he'd sold the goalkeeper. So now if the lineup wins and then hits a super rare because he literally wins a division, it's all because he didn't sell the goalkeeper.
And this is how we get much. And this is how we get 450 rare cards and use them once every 2.5 months.
I literally said to Led, super rare. Just before we started, I said to Led, I want to sell up. I want to start again. I've got it all wrong because when I joined, I missed out on the early adoption, so I missed out on all the free money that everyone got. And then I also missed, I came too early for the crash. And now I feel like if I started again now, if I just deleted everything and pretended it didn't exist and just took back what I got and started again. And I've mentioned this before, and I know Laird's viewpoint on this, but it's I think I would just be a really good ROI SO5 player. And I think it would be heavily based around collections. And I'd like the capital to rebuild into like the Premier League thing that we've got now. And we know another one's coming. I want 5 Premier League limited and rare collections. Because I didn't think it would be as easy as it has been to win money out of the Premier League tournaments. The points were really, really low. But I also don't want to just go and buy 2 or 3 players to fill gaps to try and win that. I want the full collections, because if you've got, let's say, top 4 teams in a Premier League, you don't have to have full collections, but good collections at limited and rare. And then you've also got some other premium collections on the site for your All-Star Rare Pro, your All-Star Rare, things like that. I honestly think 20 ETH-ish will give you a really good foundation of a massive return on that investment. But because of what I've already put in, and I've got all of these dead cards that have value but are actually useless. I'm sitting there looking at my gallery and I'm like, yeah, it looks like it's worth a lot, but there's probably only like I don't know, maybe like 20 cards I look at and think these are the guys, and that's awful. And collections have ruined that. Because I spent so many months listening to Sean build the best guys. Just buy another player. Just buy another player. Just buy another player. I bought Carlos Hill. I bought this guy. I bought that guy. I bought both linked with Carlos Hill. And I'm like looking back now thinking, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Should have built with a bit more strategy.
How were the collections ruining that?
Because now I just want collections because they have so much inherent value, right?
Yeah.
He realized Sean was wrong.
He's right if you play on his strategy, which is like a genuine, like big budget where you can have not just the 5 best guys, but 20 best guys and pick from those to make your 5. I'm like, I bought the 5 best guys. And then when one of them gets injured or, is potentially going to jail for 5 years on drug charges and things like that, it's like, okay, I need another best 5 now. And then it's like that reinvestment. And I just kept looking at it and I kept buying the next guy. Like, the MLS season ended. Hill went like last year. Hill is now out of action. So I went and bought like Romulo. And now Romulo got injured, ACL tear. Now I had to go and buy another. And I just kept picking up these really expensive cards to fill a gap with no actual strategy of like why I bought them. Do they have synergy with anyone? Or anything? And so I'm just left with a gallery just full of reasonable trash. And I'd rather like 30 collections instead.
Do you know what the bigger problem with what you just said there too is? Like I was complaining to Laird about it last night. Like looking at your gallery, all those guys, like when you moved on from Romelu, you paid a lot. Now he got hurt. If you would have gotten like right away, you still probably could have gotten what, like 50 to 60% of what you paid.
Yeah.
Instead, you're like, I can't sell him now. I'm gonna wait a year for him to go
until he retires.
Obviously. Right, or goes uncovered, or who knows. But like, we really got to get like with that strategy. And I just pulled up Sean's gallery for the point. Sean currently is sitting on 807 rare cards, 438 super rare cards. The last time I checked, that's a few more cards than you can play.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
but like we need to be like getting out of these cards.
Yeah,
like I was telling Laird, like I'm like so pissed because like it was my own laziness. I win this card. I don't know what to do with it. I'm like, I might use them in a cat mode eventually, but I could also just use somebody I buy with that money that fits my gallery better in a cat mode as well, or add to my collection so that the guy I do use in my cat mode has more XP. That makes a lot more sense than this random second league French guy that I've never heard of. And I'm like, 2 years ago he scored 100.
I just get so caught up on like potential upside versus downside. Like if I win a card and he's worth like $15, I'm like, even if he goes down, it might be $12 or $10 or even $8. I'd rather just keep him than sell him for that in case he's worth $50 or $100, right?
Yeah, I kid you not. So I started like selling. I think I listed like 20 cards last night. I sold 2. Big win.
Oh,
and I was going to the bots too and like checking them. So this one guy won as like a tier 5. He's worth like $6. The bots offered me 4. I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do with that $4? And then I literally saw him drop 100 like 2.5 years ago, and that was my justification that maybe he's good.
Maybe he just needs the right transfer, right? Or the manager that gives him set pieces.
The funniest thing is, I think he's a defender. But I thought he was a midfielder. And I looked at all the positions he's played. He's played like 6 positions for them. He also plays a lot of the bench position.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, what am I doing? But literally, I got the little counter offers for $4. I'm like, what if he goes up to 10? That's what
and then you'll be like, what if he goes up to 20? And then you'll just be, 20? And that's what I'm saying. That's what my gallery's full of. All of these guys that what if. I've got a lot of what if guys. And I just wish I didn't have them. I wish I just had all collections so that I look at a guy that's worth $8 and I don't look at him and think, man, I should sell him for $8. I look at him and think he's an integral part of this system because he provides towards the percent of the good guys. So it's okay that he's worth nothing and doesn't get played because his service is boosting the score of the guy who is good. So I'm all right with that.
absolutely love that you guys think you own cards that are going to be more valuable in the future.
Paul, can you look at Raul's comment right there at 922?
The optimism.
What if it goes to 0? Raul, it will go to 0 when he is bagging groceries.
Yeah, when he retires, yeah.
I don't know if he's good. I literally have never heard of this guy. And now I'm justifying that I don't need his $4.
Nep, I legitimately had the same thought this week. Like, what if I only had collections? And I don't have an answer. So the only reason why I don't is what you described, that I have I think I have good cards that can help me win rewards. Then again, when I finally win rewards, they're terrible. But it just feels like with collections, and I think we as Sorare players kind of misrepresent what it means to have great cards. Like, we think we have great cards, but you forget that in order for great cards to be great lineups, they all have to have the great matchups in the same week. So it feels like you're like, okay, I bought these 5 guys for whatever lineup, and then you look and you're like, oh, all right, we're going to Challenger this week. Oh, this guy's home against PSV this week, and you're just like, that's not great. And then 3 of them have really good matchups, and it just doesn't work out. Whereas if you just had enough collections,
yep.
And the response with it comes back to Sean, where Sean's like, no. If you just have every elite card, then you will have 5 with good matchups. And it's like, okay,
yeah, and you will,
do that.
And that's
but if you have the collections, the matchups are there at some point.
Yeah, and the thing with the potential strategies, one of the things that I love about Sorare is that there's no one shoe fits all, one size fits all. There are so many different ways you can play this game. But one of the things I hate about Sorare is that you see other people's success with playing a different way to what you're playing, and so you start going down that little rabbit hole a little bit, not enough to fully commit to it. Yeah. And then you see another guy and you're like, yeah, let me try it. And then you end up with a gallery. Yeah, you just end up with a gallery where you've got no strategy at all. And that's why I like collections, because if I just had collections, I could work really well. And when I win a reward, now, if it's not part of a collection, just sell it to build towards the next collection that I've got. But now I win a reward, a guy I've never heard of in my life, and I'm immediately attached to him just in case. And he's my best friend all of a sudden. I'm like, I can't sell this guy. And I always said, Josh always says to me, would you have gone and bought him? Never in a million years. But now that I've won him, I can't feasibly sell him just in case.
The best part is you would never even know him exists, because there's no filter on Sorare data, no matter how you flick it, that he will pop up and you will go, I want this guy. I want that guy. Yeah. You're just literally, he's throwing those cards out. Oh, if you guys have ever done this, on Player Finder, you're looking for cards. Who in the hell would own this card? And you're like, oh, I
do. So, and about what you said, Nep, seeing strategies and being like, oh, that works and that works. And I think one of the things we don't, or enough people don't do, is figuring out whether that's actually a strategy that worked or they just happen to get lucky that week. But you have to get lucky anytime that you get a big reward. There's usually a ton of luck involved in it. And so I understand the whole, and the collection thing is actually different than stacking, but I think we generally think of them together. If you have big collections, you're probably, if somebody at home against Yupin, all right, I'm going to play those 5 guys from this collection. But for most players who are not competing for stars and tier 1s every single game week, you're probably better off trying to luck box the collection lineup and just go from there. And that's what I keep thinking of that over and over, and it's infuriating because I think it's the right answer, and I know there's no way I would do it, just based on what I own already and where I've gone from that. So sorry, keep going.
No, I was going to say, do you know what the best part about what you just said and the complete fallacy of what you're doing is? That definitely works because you align the matchups, but Genius up here decided to build a collection of players all not on the same team anymore.
See, I don't mind that either.
Right?
No. In terms of the luck boxing thing, so LDU Keto, they had a really easy away game just before the international break. And the lineup was pretty secure because there was already some injuries known. There was a suspension known, and almost none of them play internationally. So they always just field a strong lineup. And you could have fit a winning lineup. Like the goalkeeper got 72. The best defender that always scores well got 62. Their best midfielder got 81. And their striker got 60, although he has like 3 cards in the whole game. But you look at like teams like that, and you think it doesn't matter where you put that. You could put that in 220 and you're winning a good reward. And you could put it in 220 because you kind of know who's going to be playing. You put it in 240, you're definitely getting threshold and probably a reward. You put it in 270, you're probably getting a reward. You could even put that in like Champion America Rare, and you're probably getting a good reward. And that's why like Parrot Press asked, like, where would I play them? Literally everywhere. Some of them stacking. Like I think what you say, Led, if you're at home to UPenn and you've got Feyenoord collection, just throw them all in there. Because if they hit, you are literally winning. And you'd be foolish to spread them in different places. And one of my first game weeks this year with my Feyenoord collection, I was paranoid. They had a home game against the newly promoted team, and they got like 600s in the team. And I've got 1 in this lineup and 1 in that lineup and 1 in that lineup and 2 in that. And I'm like, what a stupid move to not just put them together in that match. Put like, okay, when they've got an away game against, Twente or something, yeah, spread them out. Like, put them in different like priority places. But I think if you've got enough collections, especially if we just look at like limited, where it's a lot easier to move into collections and indeed out of them, and a lot easier to get that ROI on them as well. You can have like, let's say like a Villa, right? Aston Villa. They're going to struggle against Arsenal, Liverpool, City, probably United, and whatnots. But they're going to slap against all of those bottom half tables. And so you can put them in like 220 or 240. And then when they've got at home to Luton, All-Star Limited. And if you've got like my ultimate goal when I started into collections, and I've kind of lent away from it because of FC24 taking up like ridiculously large portions of my day at the moment. And I can't give any time to Sorare. It's painful. But my ultimate goal was to have the top like, or like 3 or 4 collections from every major division at limited level to just allow me to fill up all those limited like tournaments every week with real priority matchups. And I still think it's a really efficient way to play this game.
100% agree. You look Laird, you look bugged.
I think he's totally right.
and so now you're in collection.
I'm sitting. I actually don't mind that at all. Like that, yeah, that part I don't mind. It's just, yeah, I just keep thinking of the reason to stack. Not even collections, but like we were saying, like the reason to stack is if they have like a great matchup, then you have a player in the best matchup possible. It doesn't mean they're a great player, but like they could score. And I remember NepentheZ said years ago, like, do you want to stack? Or sorry, one of the reasons for stacking is like you only need to know one team. And so like all the news, if you have 1,000 players and you got to know, but if you have one team, then that's it. And it's easier to project the lineup. And NepentheZ said something like, do you want to make it easy or do you want to win? And it's like, I think we've seen enough where stacks win. And they may not win as much as 5 guys from totally different teams, but it's also easier for someone like NepentheZ to say like, no, you should play the 5 best cards because he has the 5 best cards.
Right.
And for most of us, when we don't, maybe it is. And like, I'm okay winning tier 2s and 3s, except for that bullshit I won last week. But like, I'm okay with that, with the upside of like first place. Like you can get there if they happen to just smash. We've seen it with like the Dynamo this year. Like early on, nobody thought they were this good, and it's successful. And the fact that you literally can get up to 5% more on your scores because you happen to own all these cards, it makes it a little easier to compete. And so Pico's exactly right here. I'm sitting here calculating how to get out of my gallery.
The person who won the tournament last week and won the £800, the Premier League tournament,
Man
has
United.
got Man United stack and a Man United collection, but with last season's Bruno Fernandes. And the person who won the rare has got the Arsenal collection with Onana and Rashford from his Man United collection. And it's 2 collections that have finished first. And I'm absolutely certain that at least in the limited side of things, how many points ahead did he finish? 1.44 points. It was his collection that won him first place and ended up netting him £400. Now, of course, only one person can win that. We can't all have all these collections and all be sitting there going, look at me with my £800. But the one time you get that chance to win that, you have to win it. And that's what I mean about having like 4 teams from like Premier League. That's four home games against Luton and 4 away games against Luton. That's 4 home games against Sheffield United and Burnley and all of these. You know, you're looking at like, you're really maximizing your chance of hitting those game weeks where you have that opportunity to win a reward and it just gives like humongous ROI on that point, which is why we all play the game. Nobody cares about the cards. We all just want the money.
Well, so go ahead. I wanted to avoid
if anybody's built collections from rewards.
I am going to plead the 5th.
Because you have offers out right now?
No, because I have some terrible Dude, I have a San Jose Earthquakes collection, Mike. I'll speak to you. That was built. Wait, go ahead, Laird, before I say it. Go ahead.
You did not start building that collection to have you had a card from that team, won a jersey mint, and then you were like, oh, I'm going to make the one card I had before better with a collection. You didn't go.
And now I have like 9 guys. I have backup
now
goalkeepers.
But they're but that is a collection made to boost one guy.
But it's not, because I'm like now just have the collection bug, and
but now
like
right. But I'm saying you started it to be like, I'm doing it to boost this one card that I already had, which I think is different than I think this team is good and I'm going to build a collection based off of that.
Yeah, but his exact question was, have you won a reward that you built a collection from? And that's literally, and the best part is what caused the collection is a terrible player that I just happened to win the jersey, man. I'm like, oh, look at this. Oh, I already have another guy that I won in there. And then Sorare's like, hey, here's a Jamiro Montero reward. Now what do you think? And I'm like, oh, I'm in. Yeah. I'm in.
I guess the way I looked at it is the reward starting the collection, which yours did not.
Which it sort of did, though.
I definitely have one. I won Baturina from Zagreb, and I've been interested in the Zagreb anyway. And so now that I've won him, I'm like, I really should just start building into this collection. Mm-hmm. But to do that, I need to win, and I'm not.
DJ said, in the past few months, I've won 3 Seattle Sounders cards, and makes me think I need to buy them all. In limited, it's like £40. DJ, the real question is, why on earth are you not already a full Sounders collector?
And honestly, it was like, they're out now, but 2 weeks ago, the home playoff game, they had 2. I think they had 2 home playoff games.
They had 2 out of 3
shutouts. They were both shutouts. You would have won. You would have won more than £40 on those 2 games alone.
So Josh says, I do think going full collections will restrict you somewhat, like a non-collection Romulo, will outscore your collection piece more often than that. The problem is you need the 4 other guys who are in that Romelu lineup to outscore your collection. And like, I'm not saying that collections are going to outscore. I don't even know what to call a non-collection lineup.
Just call a Nanzo or PSU ultimate lineup. Like,
we're not realistically making collection lineups that are going to compete for first place every week. Like, it's just not. It's really hard to do that without a seemingly unlimited budget. And so, like, Romelu might outscore, one of my players, but like, you need 4 others. And at that point, your lineup is worth more than my 4 collections. And maybe one of my collections goes off next week.
Yeah.
Or
we win the same thing.
It gives you, like what Nep's saying, you have like 20 collections, or you have multiple Premier League collections, and maybe you're going, all right, I've got Palace at home versus Luton. I like goalkeeper. I like my center backs. I don't really like my attackers unless without Eze or Elise, if they're both hurt. Like, you just are like, I don't trust anybody on the attack. But I have this Arsenal collection, and they are, I'm trying to think of, like, they're home to Brighton, and I don't think they're going to keep a sheet versus Brighton, but I think they could score 4 goals. So I'm going to go ahead and load up Saka. I'm going to play Gabi Jesus or Martinelli or whatever. So you can, like, mix and match the collections. You can go, this is a great offensive matchup, so I'm going to use my attackers. Here's my great defensive matchup here. But again, you have that correlation already built in because of the collection.
Yeah, that's the other great thing. Like, Houston, they need a striker, right? Like, Bassey is
Corey Baird's
garbage.
not doing for you?
Corey Baird's
Baird?
garbage. Nah, like, they're just bad. And if Bassey wasn't on pens, I think he has like 3 goals in like 7 years. You know, it's like
really bad.
He's awful. But Clark, okay, maybe he's a little bit old. Maybe he's got another year or 2 left in him. I don't know. But Clark, Griffin Dorsey, I like. Sviatchenko, I think next season is going to be good for him, and Herrera. Those 3, especially at home, you bank on those every single time. Then you just need to find that collection that you've got in the MLS or like the Americas region where you've got the 2 attackers. And, you know, River have actually got some really on-fire attackers right now. Ezekiel Barco's starting to do really well after moving from the MLS last season. He's like finally found his feet.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, here's where it's like if you had like 3 or 4 Americas collections, you've got every Houston home game, you're like, boom, that's part of that team. And then every Houston away game, you maybe put them in like 240 and just try and scrape some ETH off of their bad performance.
Nip, you'll love this. Sorry, this is like off Sorare topic, but they were on Extra Time. It's a MLS show here. They were talking about Houston. They're like, Nelson Quinones, who's the winger for Houston, they're like, he makes the wrong decision in the attacking third every time.
He has got potential, though. He is good.
Oh, no, he's really good. But I just thought it was hilarious. I just was cracking up because like, to what you're saying is this. They play this beautiful football, and then as soon as they get to the attacking third, whatever the correct decision is, their team is not going to do it.
Yeah, that's right. It is true. It is true.
Mike Basson said, so rather than just buy all the best cards, we're advocating buying all the cards from every team, bar the shit ones.
So no. Okay. You have to get the crap ones as well.
I also want to add on to that is I'm also saying like where a lot of us are, and like the 3 of us are kind of complaining that we have all these cards that we've like held onto for various reasons, for no good reason, really. But if you switch them out for somebody in your collection, you know, you did like a trade or something like that, well, now they actually have use. Like they're, even if you're not using them, maybe you eventually do get to a spot that they get thrust into a starting spot and they're actually good. Something like that, but at least even if they're sitting on your bench, they're actually adding something. You know, my random second league French guy that I've been making fun of that I should have taken $4 from, he's not helping anybody. Like there's nothing that's being helped in my gallery. I'm never gonna play him in anything. I'm never gonna build a collection of this guy. Like, why is he there? Oh, because there's a chance in 2 years he might be worth $10.
Yeah,
but more likely worth 0.
Yeah, I agree. But going to Parrot Press's comment before as well, if I had 5 champ, 5 challenger, 5 America, 5 Asia, 5 second division, I wonder how many years it takes to get back even. This is where the collection game, and why I love talking about collections with you guys and on this show, is not just about SO5 returning. If you buy into Asia regions and, you know, they have like 700 men per squad, right? It's likely that one of your guys is going to go to the army squad. So one of those guys that never plays all of a sudden is a starting guy. You know, the goalkeepers, they get rotated like crazy. And it is about, like we've talked about in previous shows, it's about when a player gets a big uptick in value, selling them off. And even if that means you lose 1% on your collection bonus, but you bring back a big portion of that collection investment, it reduces the need to win in SO5. And then when you see teams like Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, and where their pieces have gone at the end of each season, you get massive amount of either utility or sellability from that. And then if you see Challenger Europe, you get the Challenger Europe guy that goes up to Champion Europe and fails. But you get so many players that leave like Feyenoord and Ajax and go to like Heerenveen and just start slapping, where you're like, okay, now I've got another really sick piece to either sell on or yield from in terms of cards. And it's like, no matter where you look, you know, the MLS guys, if they go to Asia or Brazil or anything like that, they usually perform better there. You've got those superstars that come from like Venezuela to the MLS and they start performing well there. It's like there's so much more value in having that whole collection, but managing that collection. So when something works in that positive, selling it off, maybe buying it back when that hype dies down, or maybe leaning into a brand new collection off the back of it.
What do you guys think about this comment about whether you should buy 10, 15-pound rare cards or $150 one?
I mean, if you're doing a collection, it should be all. Because that 150-pound guy you probably need for that collection to yield because it's probably their best player.
No. I don't think it's necessarily for collection. It's more like, do I buy 10 cards that help my collection, or should I just buy one really good player who's completely unrelated, but he's actually better than everyone in my collection?
I mean, the problem, at least I would see with that comment, is your $150 guy is probably not elite. Like, he's probably not like matchup proof where you're playing him all the time. So you're going to have those 30, 40% of games that you really don't feel that great about him. But because you spent the money, now you feel like you have to play him. Whereas, you know, all those like 10, 15-pound guys, they can fit into your cap modes where, you know, you can work it out. And then when it does, all the stars align and your FC Seoul home towards, I don't know Korea that well, but the bottom table, like the team's already relegated. They brought their youth guys. They're just going to get killed. Like, then you can, you know, kind of just push them out and have a really good shot of doing something special. I mean, that's how I would do it. So I would lean towards that 10, 15-pound guys. But if you're like, all right, do I build a whole collection or do I pick up Kimmich and Sane? Like, if that's like different math.
I think when people talk about the collections, like, you know, you say you need all the stars to align for like a collection to go off. You need all the stars to align for your best five. Like, you could literally pick the best 5 players on the platform. If I gave you unlimited budget and said build an all-star rare pro team for next week, you probably aren't going to win.
Yep. We did that on LTO like months ago. We did the whole, here's the 5 best players at each position.
Yeah.
I think we did Champ Europe, and like, I think
they almost never win.
I think it was podiumed one time in like 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people just really underestimate the fact that having 5 or 8 like really good players also requires them to have good matchups in the same week for them to pay off. Like, you're not buying elite players to come up short because like one of them is away to Arsenal that week. And you're just like, oh, all right, what do I do now? And it's like, well, you're stuck because you've.
Yeah. And then carrying on to the cap point, if they all have really good XP because of the collection, well, now if they're not in the greatest matchup, but you can pull them into 240, you lowered that bar to beat the game.
Yeah.
And so now, you know, you can still get use out of them, even if it's not the week that you're expecting to win a card or have a podium sweat.
And then if they do go off, you could still.
Right. And then if they're away to Arsenal, you played your Palace collection, and Arsenal gets a red card in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
there you go. Happy days.
Everything changed. I think thank you. That was literally the question. Like that my question.
He said the majority of us aren't able to buy multiple collections up to 5% for multiple teams. And of course, season on season. So what do you advise in those circumstances? Is there a minimum percentage sufficient to reach?
I mean, that's a personal thing. I think 3% is pretty easy to get.
Yeah. But I also think that if you're buying a collection in the first place, you need the players that play, and they're like 80% of the total price of the whole collection. So once you've got that anyway, those like 50-cent guys and $1 guys, you can even just pick them up over time. You know, just every time, just go to the auction, just put like a $1 bid on all of them. And if you get them, great. And if you don't, try again next time they get like listed onto the auction house, right? But I agree. I think 3% is really easy to get to. And I actually think 4% after 90 days is really easy to get to as well.
After 90,
5%, it's that 5% that takes the hit.
Lairdinho. 90 days is just the longest. It's just an eternity.
Just imagine if
3 years ago that still hasn't hit the 90 days.
Just imagine the microtransaction thing like we talked about last week. Like if you could just spend that $10 to take away the 90 days for like the whole collection.
Yeah. But yeah, 3% is good. And like, you know, this is like when I used to wax lyrical about collections. The beautiful thing about that 3% is it compounds, right? Because you get the XP quicker, which means you move up the levels quicker. You get even more points from that, which like, and so on and so forth. And it just gives you, when you win the Premier League thing by 1.44 points, that 3% makes all of the difference.
So Nep, I have a off collection topic, and I know Laird's answer because we are sickos and talk about it and do it over. Laird, you'll hear it and you'll agree. Just don't worry.
I just had to do that for dramatic effect. I knew exactly.
Yeah. So when you are getting an offer on a card, and chat, feel free to join in this too. Like right now, I had little counter offers going on. I want 0.075 for the card ETH, so I want like $155, and the guy like just doubled down on his 0.0725. So we're like $5 away. How many times do you counter back at your thing? Like part of me is like, F you. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm sticking to my guns, but I don't need this player. I'm never gonna play him.
Like it depends, like, because there's a power dynamic, right? There's a power dynamic. If this guy wants the card, if he started at like, what did he start at, like 100 or like 0.6, 0.65?
0.07.
Okay, and then you asked for 0.75 and he came back with 0.725.
Oh, I mean that's way too reasonable. No, I came down like $2 on my first.
Okay, but he is going to buy this card off of you. So if you now reject, he'll just come back with what you want, because he has that internal fear of missing out, knowing that somebody else might not accept this offer or might not have this chance. And if somebody else buys this card from you whilst he's trying to, he'll be livid that he didn't spend the extra few dollars to get it.
I feel like that is the common sense approach. And then there's what actually happens.
And then there's Sorare reality, yeah.
Where what actually will happen is I will reject this. This guy will go somewhere else. He'll find some other, or I've had this happen way too many times. He just decides he doesn't want that card anymore, and he goes on to a completely different player, and never happens again. And in 2 weeks, my guy will be worth like 0.04. And now I will remember, that I rejected 0.0725 ETH, and I will never sell this guy. And then I will still complain. I'll come back on here and say, I've had a guy for 3 years and he still isn't at his 90-day bonus because I keep trying.
Yeah.
Like,
Laird,
I know you do that. I didn't even need to ask Laird that question, because Laird literally, he has a whole gallery full of guys that he should have sold, and it was like $2 off, and now they're on his gallery for.
I was gonna say, if you just look through my gallery and see what the value of cards are, and add like 28% to the value of every card, I've gotten an offer for that and refused it.
The worst for me is when I offer somebody something and they reject and they haggle and they reject and they haggle, and I just decide to not buy it. And then like 6 hours later, I see them sell that card for like $40 less than I offered them to somebody else. I'm like, wait, come on, man, what's happening here? And then I'm like, all right, so that's now his new price. So let me try and go and buy him. And then his new price is like 3x what he just sold for. And I'm like, well, now I just kind of get him anyway. So yeah.
I by the way, I sold it. Thank you guys for the talk there.
Did you reject the offer and he came back?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I realized by saying it out loud what was actually about to happen, which is I was about to be on that card for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
If I said no right now.
Ben said this happened to him last Thursday. He was selling a rare for $26. Guy kept offering him 19 and wouldn't go higher. I just rejected it, and he bought the card for 26 right before the deadline.
Your card or somebody else's?
Oh, that's a good question.
The so rare reality I know is he bought somebody else's
for
32.
Out of spite, if somebody is rejecting a very reasonable offer, I will, out of spite, pay like $5 or $10 more for a card that's not theirs. And I'm just like, yes.
With less XP.
Definitely, yeah.
I have done it. I know other people, by the way, because I hate negotiating on Discord. I like to stealthily make crap offers and crap counter offers. I don't really like to do it to somebody's face. I know people that love negotiating, and they will screenshot that they've paid somebody else more, send it to the person they're negotiating with, and go.
Yeah. No, I don't like the Discord the Discord negotiations either. especially when they're like, "This is my final offer." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that doesn't work for me." And then I'll buy the card, and they're like, "Wait, we could have discussed that more." I'm like, "You just gave me your final offer. You told me."
Final offer is the biggest lie in Sorare.
It is, yeah.
It's the lowest I'll go. Okay, I'll go somewhere else. Oh,
Yeah, no, I'll go a little bit lower.
It's like the car dealership. You walk out and they come running to you. Oh, don't go out that door. Wait, let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk. We can throw in this.
Let's talk about this horrible card that you have of this guy who is so bad and is likely to get injured or transferred to a place he'll never play. I'd like to buy that card, please. Scosmo said, "It's my final offer if you'll accept it."
That's fantastic.
I had a really bad offer. Like sometimes, like when you get unsolicited offers for cards that aren't listed, I immediately get excited. I love it because I'm like, okay, this guy's got some potential of doing something, either getting transferred or something. And this guy offered me like 4 absolute useless cards for a super rare striker that I've got. That, like, obviously it's an MLS guy. Their season's ended. He's got no chance, but maybe he's going somewhere. I don't know. So I googled his name. There's no like transfer news or anything. And I was like, oh, I got really excited. But this guy offered me 4 piles of absolute crap. I rejected it. Did the research on him. Got another email notification about Sorare, another email notification. This guy's just trying to give his 4 cards to me for anything I'm willing to trade. He's like tried to trade them with like 7 different pieces of my gallery. I'm like, okay, I see what's happening here. So I had to block him. But yeah, I hate trades where people are like, hey, I've got these 5 terrible cards for your average card. Do you think that's worthwhile? And it's like, just look at my collections. If you just give me pieces of your crap gallery where I've got collections building, I'm probably more likely to trade you, even if the ones are worthless, because it saves me doing the work. Like right now, I'd love to be able to, like, if I've got like a $50 card and somebody's got $50 worth of a collection that I would happily take, I would happily trade it, but I just don't want to do the work for it. So if you do the work for me, I'm happy to trade it. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, what Josh has put in chat, I'm laughing because that I remember it very well, Josh. And I immediately, as soon as you didn't, I pulled the Nep approach and like rejected, like no. And then Josh didn't send another one. I'm like, I done fucked up.
As we were sitting here, I just got an offer for a card that I've owned for quite a while. It's a level 20 rare card that I've owned for 3 years. I actually haven't even owned this card. It was given to me. It's for Marcelo, who used to play for Lyon, not like Real Madrid. Guess how much do you think the offer was for?
I have no idea. $6.
$3.
$1.
What is his collection? Isn't the offer is too low and I want more money the same thing?
Yes,
I would think so. His collection. Do I have to go to my collections? It's probably a decent collection, and now you're going to make me start some
start a collection because of Marcelo. No,
did that say I was first? Oh no, one of. Actually, I think Nellis and Quinny did a collection video and included this in it because there are decent players in here. Like there's Joe Commanderson, Soleil.
That Marcal plays out in Brazil.
Oh, look at that. Oh my God. Wait a minute.
This is the wrong one.
Oh no, this isn't it. Sorry. Hold on. That was the other one.
And he got a quick reminder of that Cherokee card he absolutely hates.
Yeah. Cherokee had potential. Like he was one of those wonder kids, wasn't he? That was like, this kid's going to be the next best thing. And it just hasn't lived up to it.
New manager, new Cherokee. Anyway. Lopez. It was the other one that they talked about. That was Malagusto, Cherokee again.
Paqueta's doing well.
Cacare
doing well, yeah. There are some nice pieces there.
Bruno G.
You should buy into that collection. Also, Slimani, currently playing out in Brazil. What a god. Got a super rare version of him if you want to buy it.
And Memphis Depay is about to be really good in Saudi Arabia.
No. He's going to end up in like Qatar? UAE or Qatar. Yeah, he's not good.
Qatar.
He's not going to go to Saudi. Anyway.
Bid him up. So last thing, I know we're running on time, but
by the way, sorry. If anybody out there is the one who sent that offer and I said like it's too low, $1,000 the card is yours.
So I think we talked about this on this show before, but I just can't get over the fact that Parrot Press said something like 30 minutes ago. I wouldn't be able to find it, but it's bugged me the whole time, which is essentially, he was like, if you, whales can stash away cards that, can eventually go to 0 or shoot up, and it doesn't matter. But I would love to know, like, Nanzo or Sean. Actually, I know Sean's answer, which is essentially if you would have offered him that random tier 5 or $5, he would have just taken the $5.
Yeah. So
the whole is it not a fallacy then? Oh, a whale can just stash it away and wait. But if you would have given the guy, if it's so rare, the rewards pool was, here's your random League 2 guy for $5, or here's $5.
I think it's more down to the point that $5 is just has more utility instantly, doesn't it? Because you can buy what you want, or you can put
I can go buy a collection. I can go buy 5 $1 bench warmers for my collection. At least they will be useful. I don't know. That's where I've been struggling with as I've like not sold rewards for a while.
Yeah. So what Parrot Press says there, it depends if you're a what if guy or give me more money now guy. I love but hate, again, because it makes me want to do it, the people that sell every reward they get no matter what. They just sell instantly. And there's a couple of guys that are in my community. One of them's like a big Villa fan. And he just sells literally everything because he's like, I don't want this. I want the cash to put it towards what I want. And I'm like, I wish I did that. Instead of like every time I get a reward being like, oh, let me make sure he's in the lineup next week just in case.
Yep. and then again, he just collects dust in your gallery.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he's on page 6. Even on Sorare data, he's way down there.
Yeah.
You never notice him again.
Since we're talking about Sorare data, I have a request for a feature, Laird. Can we just have a tab when you go into lineup builder and you see all those players, and I know you can filter things out, just let me delete players from that list one by one, so I can like leave the players that I'm like deliberating over there, because sometimes they're not all in the, like sometimes there's a AAA guy that I'm like, yeah, he could be good, but then there's a B guy that I'm like, okay, I think I know better than Sorare data, and I think he's actually potentially going into this lineup, and I'd just like to see them together to kind of deliberate. That'd be fun. Thanks.
You just want to like hide guys, basically?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I haven't asked for anything for a while as well, so I think it's...
I know. Absolutely fair. Absolutely
fair. Part of the bingo card has not been filled out for a long time.
It's been a while. You're right. You're right. Well, on that note, I'm going to end us so I can go build that from now. I'll get right on that here. And so thank you, everybody, for joining. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. I don't think, did we even, well, I guess we talked about the actual topic today that we're very much interested in talking about for days. So thank you to everybody, and good luck with your collections.